Obviously, a huge week in the overall markets last week for us. We ended the day on Friday at 710. We just had all-time highs on top of more all-time highs last week. It's kind of easy though, because we did have that monthly expiration, the 17th, kind of gave us a hint like, yeah, guess what? We're going to keep on pumping this thing and it's going to keep on going. Obviously, coupled that with some good news and some different Trump tweets and things like that here and there. Obviously, that's going to help as well. But overall, I just figured since it was going to be that monthly expiration on Friday, that we would not get a larger pullback on Friday, that we would keep going or at least stay flat. Obviously, we pumped. So now, since we are past that monthly expiration cycle, the question is, what type of news are we going to get geopolitically, and how is that going to affect the overall markets? I would say any news to the downside, which we already got this week, would pull us back just a little bit in here. If not back down closer to those 700s or the 702s. Now, we did see that Iran has, or we got a Trump tweet, I guess, saying that Iran has broken the ceasefire agreement. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. We're going to see where futures open up on Sunday night. We might get a little dip overnight, but by Monday morning, we might fully recover, right? So it's kind of all up in the air right now, but I would say a healthy dip back down to those 702s or even 700 obviously wouldn't hurt. But right now, obviously, we like where we're at, though, right? We want to keep on going higher and higher. That's just going to be more time for us to kind of gather and sit back and just kind of take what the market is giving us. So overall on this weekly chart, what are we looking at in here? Well, obviously we're pointing to 720. That's going to be the big number of this overall structure on the weekly chart. That's where we want to go. Obviously, the news coming in this week doesn't really sound great. A little bit of a pullback might happen, but if the market just shakes that off, then look for 720 as our main resistance up here. To the downside, obviously, we're looking at nice whole numbers working our way down to that 700, but I like the 705, 702, and then 700 as our supports. Anything outside of there, we're looking at 695 right here. You're expecting moves priced in by the overall markets in here. Let's see. On Monday, you have right around a $4 expected move being priced in. Tuesday, 6. Wednesday, 8. Thursday, 9. If you go all the way out to next Friday, $10 expected move being priced in on some IV rank of 33. So the VIX pulled back a little bit, had a little bit of a run up now because we're starting to get overextended. So you're going to notice that how your options prices decreased, but now they're starting to get a little bit of juice back in them. That's because of that little curve that we're going to get in the overall VIX on the daily. So we're going to kind of breeze through these as quick as we can in here because we have a lot to go over. But we're going to look at Mara here first up on the weekly chart. You can see that we are pushing up here. We are trying to get up here to this 1227 and the 1203 marks. It's kind of like a $20 channel in there. That's based off previous supports and resistances coming back as far back as last year, and then as soon as the end of this past year. So that's what we're looking at here, a little 20-cent channel in here for our main resistance. Anything outside of there, it's going to be this 50 or this 200-day moving averages. They're both trading at $13.50 or to the $14 mark. To the downside in here, everything is looking at this basically 9.5 to around 980 mark. That's where your 9-day EMA is trading. That's where a previous support in here from November was kind of set up at. So that's kind of what you're looking at here to the downside. IV ranking here is still relatively elevated compared to itself, 51. You have right around a $1 expected move being priced in by this Friday. We're going to take a look at snow real quick since we are already in here now. We have a sharp trend line in here on this overall structure. We kind of just removed this lower trend line because obviously we want to put it here, but we're just going to wait and see what happens this week to see if we are going to respect these lows that came in here about a couple weeks ago, sitting at that 120 mark. So overall, we're sitting at the 143 handle in here. To the upside, we're looking at right around this 155 area. That's where this upper trend line and that's where this support kind of all meet. You also have the 9-day EMA putting a lot of weight on us right here at that 158. You also have this 50-day sitting at 170. So a lot going on in here within the next 20 handles. So that's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But if we do get a nice little pop in here, look for us to bang our head up against that 155 and then kind of consolidate before we get a nice break into that 50-day SMA. To the downside, overall, we are looking at this 135, and then below there, we're looking at 125. Your IB rank in here is sitting at 64. So everything is relatively juiced compared to itself in here as far as options go. IB rank is sitting at 64, and you have right around a $9 expected move being priced in by this Friday. We're going to take a look at RIOT in here. We are sitting at that $18 handle right now. Obviously, we did not change this overall structure on the breakout that came in last week. We're going to give it one more week to see if we're going to respect it. It looks like we can adjust this now. The question is, how high are we going to go on this breakout? So right now, you can see that we broke out above that $18 handle. Anything outside of there, we are going to be focusing on this $19 and 39-cent level in here. Above that, you're looking basically at 20. So that's going to be our first support in here. Anything to the downside, really nothing stopping us until we get down to 16, but hopefully we get a nice hold of these 18s in here. Your RSI is still relatively neutral. Obviously, it's elevated just a little bit in here, but still a lot of neutrality. So if we can kind of hold these 18s and consolidate up here for a little while, this RSI is going to reset, and then it maybe our volume kind of even us out in here, and then we can start working our way to that $20 handle. You have a $2 expected move priced in by this Friday, and next week, April 30th after market, you do have earnings coming up in here for RIOT. So that's going to be something that we are going to keep our eyes on as we get closer to that overall earnings report, because that should carry a lot of movement and a lot of volatility for us in here, especially on a stock that has a pretty decent expected move for the price that it's currently in. Amazon in here, we ended the day at 250 here on Friday. Anything above there, we're basically going to be eyeing this 258 level. It's really 259, but anything between 258 and 259, that's what we're looking at. Anything outside of there, then obviously we're going to be looking up here at this overall upper trend line of the structure, which is trading right around at that 269 area. To the downside in here, we're going to be looking at 242, and then we have 234 mapped out here on the weekly chart. So we still got a while to go in here as far as hitting our overall big major resistance for an overall structure, but still two huge green candles in a row in here on the weekly chart. Let's see if we can keep up the overall momentum, but it looks like a little consolidation could be needed in here before that next leg gets any higher. Your IB ranking here is sitting at 51. You are pricing in right around a $3 expected move by Monday. If you go all the way out to Friday, $7. If you go all the way out to the end of the month, right around a $14 expected move. And then you also have earnings coming up on April 29th after market. So it's going to be interesting to see how that is all going to play out as we get closer to that overall earnings report. Last but not least, we all have to focus on USO in here. Obviously, we had these highs coming in about those 140s just a few weeks ago. This past week, just a huge, big down move with the overall markets popping. So going forward, we're sitting right on this 9-day EMA sitting at 113. We're going to see if that does hold. If not, then we have these 109s up on deck. If not, then we're looking at the 100. Then we're looking at 94. To the upside in here, we are going to be watching 124, and then anything outside of there, it's basically going to be 130 or 140, right? That's kind of our main resistances, and that's kind of how things are shaking out. So it's going to be, we have to kind of wait and see what happens and what kind of bad news is going to come in, and then how is Trump going to react to that, right? So the market's always going to be reactionary to Trump's tweets and things like this. So we always kind of keep that in mind. But overall, USO, huge pullback in here. Obviously, it was overran for quite some time. Your RSI is getting back down here to 65. So a little bit of consolidation in here before the next pullback or the next kind of run up is going to be very helpful, but I'm not sure how long that is going to last, especially with all the tensions mounting geopolitically around the world. So all in all, that's what we're looking at here, guys, for this upcoming week. That was kind of the recap of last Friday. Let's see how we open up Sunday night in our futures, see how that's going to affect us going into pre-market on Monday around 4 o'clock. And then we're going to play this thing and adjust accordingly this week. So all in all, I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll see what happens this coming up week. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.